Visit atwsource.com to take the next step along your path of awakening. You're listening to Awakening Truth, worldwide radio, and its network of radio shows. Presented by the teachers of Awakening Truth Worldwide, where spirituality, truth, and consciousness collide.
Welcome to A Guiding Light. I'm Dr. Joseph Marra, and I will be your host for the next 60 minutes. I'll be joined by my special guest and very good friend, Teri Ippoliti. Teri is a psychic and a deep channeler, as well as a transpersonal hypnotherapist. Over the years, she has helped hundreds heal themselves. We'll discuss what 2012 means to humanity, the Earth, and the entire universe. Is humanity destined to evolve into a new species? Will the Earth turn into a star at the end of this year? Tune in as we discuss the possibilities. Teri Ippoliti, welcome to A Guiding Light.
Hi, Joe.
How are you?
I'm fine. Thanks for inviting me back on your show.
Well, it's always
It's been a while.
Yeah. So I always like to start off with my guest's own personal story. So could you tell the listeners who you are, those who don't know you already, and how you got to where you are today?
Oh, okay. Basically, I used to live in what we call that fear-based third dimensional life, where we live in fear and under everybody else's rule. And there were some things that happened to me in my life that started to create me to awaken. And, and sometimes they're not always easy things that happen in our lives. And so I think I was about maybe 34 or something like that, and I started realizing my life was changing, but I couldn't figure out why it was changing or what was going on. And then I started to people were telling me that I was going through like a Kundalini experience. And then ever since that time, certain books and certain people, it seemed like I attracted all the right people in my life to help me to get through that experience. And then what that experience did was it actually taught me it cleansed me. It was like, the Kundalini experience is actually the breaking open of all the energy fields in your body, and commonly known the chakras. And so what was happening was I was growing, and I was emerging into this new life that you can only see, hear, feel, love. You look outside and you see nature differently, and you hear things differently. And then I started realizing that I was kind of like people were hugging me and telling me, oh, I know God sent you to me, and I had no idea what I was saying. So I was actually channeling to people, but didn't realize that's what I was doing. So then I came across, as I was going on this journey, because that's exactly what it was, is a journey, and I started realizing that all of these experiences were about me. I was mirror imaging off of people. I had this drive to study about hypnosis, regression therapy, past life regression therapy, anything I could get my hands on, energy healing, astrology, and it was just like a driven force. And then I'd be driven out of my hometown to go someplace else, and I'd learn all new things about myself. And so basically, then I came across Joe, and Joe was working as a medical practitioner, and he hired me as an addiction therapist using hypnosis. And then that came into a whole new ball game. And then Joe and I told Joe that I was actually channeling, but I didn't know what I was doing, so him and I would take our lunch breaks and we would explore that. And I found that was a whole new exploration by itself that actually got me to where I'm at right now.
Yeah, and when you say Joe, you were talking about me.
I'm sorry, I forgot. Yeah, Dr. Joe Marra. He actually hired me back in 2009, and I think I stayed with him, 2008, and I stayed with him until the end of 2010 or something like that. And we did a lot of exploration through the channels, and it was quite a journey, which could take 4 or 5 different radio talk shows to talk about it. But it actually brought me to where I'm at today. I've been for many times I saw myself as a perpetual inner student, but realizing that I was serving humanity at the same time. And so now today I had to get myself grounded for a while, so I moved out to Colorado, and here I am. I'm now still channeling off and on, but not much as I used to when I was with Joe. But otherwise, I can do it by writing, or it's just sometimes I just have an inner dialogue going on a lot of times, but I'm not schizophrenic. I know what's going on around me. So that's my story.
Yeah. So
a past form of my story.
Yeah. Quick. That was quick. So, and since we only have an hour show, I mean, that was quite appropriate. But, could you tell the listeners, since we're talking about channeling, I mean, we're going to get into this maybe around halfway through, around 7:30, and then we'll take some calls at that time, and maybe I'll discuss a little bit about what channeling is and what we found at that time. But could you tell the listeners basically your opinion on, can anybody channel? Is this something that just only a few people on the planet can do, or could anybody do this?
I believe anybody can do it. It's just basically opening up your psychic abilities, which is basically pertaining to the mind, and all you need to do is be willing. That's it's like at some point I must have asked to serve in some way, or I must have asked to. I do know I used to always say, "Oh my God, there's got to be something better to life than this." I said that a lot. So I think you just have to be willing to change. Yeah. And I have another friend who does channeling, and she said that, and it rang so true to me, is that to channel it is a willingness. You have to be willing to do it. Mm-hmm. And there have been times when I wasn't willing to do it, but now it's an internal connection that I have with a higher perspective, my higher mind tapping into other higher aspects of the universe. Mm-hmm. That's how I see it. Right.
And, since you're on the show here, and since we are currently in the year 2012, I want to ask you what this all means to humanity, the Earth, and even the entire universe. Like, what's this 2012 phenomenon that everybody, at least in your opinion, what do you think this is all about right now?
Well, I truly believe in everything that I have experienced in my inner world, is that the 2012 is not about the end of the world. It is about the transformation of humankind changing into a newer species. Our dimensions are collapsing or blending, and our planets are aligning, and we have a lot of activity, energetic activity going on right now that is creating us to transform into a higher consciousness of what some people might call the Christ consciousness. Some call it unity connection. We have this opportunity to raise in our consciousness, which is what's happening to humanity right now. And so what's happening is that we're transitioning into a new species, is how I see it.
Yeah, okay.
Our DNA is changing. Our children are being born with a different DNA strand. It's I see it a lot in the kids, like the teenagers and the 20-somethings in between 20 and 30, maybe even a little bit past 30. I'm starting to see like extraterrestrial reincarnates, or a lot of the 60s being reborn.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm noticing. So there's the 60s is coming back, but this time we don't have to do drugs to explore our horizons, you know. So it's just kind of like that's what I'm noticing, is that we have allowed ourselves to raise in a consciousness so that maybe we can expand into a new humanity, a higher vibrational along with the earth. I mean, the earth has to come along with this too. Or maybe it's vice versa. The earth and us are evolving.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the things I also wanted to question. We talked a little bit about humanity, but what about the earth? Do you feel that, and I've asked guests this in the past, but your own personal take is, do you feel that the earth is alive? Is she a sentient being like we are?
Oh, yeah. Everything is alive, because everything is energy. The universe is energy, the earth is energy, we're energy, our thoughts are energy. And so basically what's happening is how we think that is in our surroundings. So basically we're all connected. We've always been connected to the earth, and vice versa. And the whole aspect of it is that it's almost like, I remember saying this in a channel once before, is that we're kind of like the cells of the earth, but there's a connection to that, to where I see us, especially with this 2012 phenomenon, that we are, the more we think, just like in our bodies, the more good cells we have, the healthier we are. Well, the more that we think at a higher vibration, which is all energy, I believe that it's healing the earth, because for the longest time, through centuries, we have been destroying the earth.
Right.
And so, we're poking her, we're taking her blood out, which is the oil, and we're mining her and taking her gems out, which is another part of who she is, and the whole aspect of it is that we have been just slowly destroying her for our own means, and it's out of greed, which all of these negative personifications also of behavior is detrimental to her as well. Greed, hate, fear, war, all of that stuff is hurting her as well, because she is a living organism, just like we are a living organism, and the plants are a living organism. I mean, you can just see that on when you're growing a plant, or you're taking care of a fish. They live longer when you pay attention to them and love them.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's all a connection.
Right.
The rocks, the sea, everything is a connection of what we are. And as we grow within ourselves, we awaken to this, what happens is that we can see the connection, we can feel the connection, and that's where when people say, well, that person's psychic, or that person can do things that I can't do, well, that's only because you can do it. It's just you have to come to that point where you want to see, feel, hear, and be a part of everything the same way, but you have to shed a lot of stuff first.
Yeah, do you think fear has a lot to do with that as well? Like, if it's a fearful person, they may not allow themselves to experience channeling or psychic abilities?
Well, you know something, Joe, I'm telling you, I have met in the past some fearful channelers. And actually myself, I remember being fearful of what was going on around me, thinking that, because we still have that we still have that third dimensional stuff that in us that we've been so conditioned to for such a long time. But I think with this new 2012 energy that we've got, we're coming into more clarity. So we're not as fearful. But there are a lot of people fearful out there. But what happens is the higher you raise your consciousness, and the ways to do that is by working on yourself. You know, go to a therapist, go to a hypnotherapist, go to learn how to meditate, start doing yoga, taking care of the mind, the body, and the spirit, you know, and learn more and more, and then eventually you can't help but take care of that inner child and love yourself, and that's the key, is self-care, caring about yourself, to want to shed all the things that have been causing you pain for such a long time. And once you do that, you're not only healing yourself, you're healing the earth and the universe. You know, you're being a part of the universe then. And that's when all of this comes, this is when all of this becomes that connection, that unity connection. And some people might even call that the fifth dimension.
Mm-hmm. All right, so here we are in the middle of April, and it seems as if there's nothing going on, and we're in the 2012 thing. So do you feel that there's more going on behind the scenes that we're simply not aware of yet?
You mean like negative things or positive things?
Yeah, positive changes that, well, you know, the way I look at it in my own personal view is I really feel that a lot is going on. But because of the control of the media, not a lot of people know what's really going on or what's amping up per se.
Right. Okay. I understand what you're saying now. Actually, I just ate not too long ago. So anyway, what I'm noticing is that I believe that a lot of people are being exposed now. Even the media is now exposing, but they're exposing it differently. You know, like through the History Channel, there's a lot of information. When you were on, I think, the History Channel at one time, and I believe that it wasn't as, at that time it was like maybe 2010 or something, and at that time, they were just starting to get a lot of this information out in the History Channel, in the, there's another channel that they use. And so now you see a lot of this awareness coming out as scientific, you know, scientific information, to where I'm noticing around me that, like, for instance, people that you would never think in 2 years ago would be thinking the way they're thinking. Like my aunt, who was so closed-minded at one time, called me up and says, Teri, do you think that my cat might be in here, which is dead? And I said, I wouldn't doubt it. And she goes, well, I thought I saw her the other day. And then she starts talking to me about extraterrestrial awareness, and that she's really into all of this new information that's coming out on television. She even called me about the solar flares. My granddaughter, for instance, who's 14 years old, is now talking about extraterrestrial awareness and all of these, these conspiracies and things like that. And so I truly do believe that people are awakening, even to the point where my mother, you know, she just thought I was a schizophrenic. She thought I was crazy. And then when she got sick, her hands would double up. And I would come over and I would hold her hand for like 15 minutes. And, of course, it like hurt, and my hands were hot to her. But after 15 minutes, she was able to move her fingers, and it would last for like 3 days, to the point where she would start calling me up and say, hey, come on up and do your stuff. You know, so I believe that, yes, that information is coming up. you know, and you're seeing it all around you. Oh, and here's one thing. I was actually talking to you, I believe, on the phone the other day about this higher awareness and, you know, and some of the things that I was experiencing when I went up to Portland about, you know, the spaceships and stuff. And I was standing in line, and there was two young girls. I think they had to have been teenagers. And, of course, I'm not afraid to speak what I have to speak anymore. And so I don't care where I'm at, I'm going to talk my truth. And so anyway, these two girls turned around and looked at me, and the one girl puts her thumb up like, yes. You know, so I'm really I am personally seeing and witnessing the transition of this energy that we're going through in 2012. It's about clarity.
Yeah, you know, speaking of clarity, just to be clear on, so the listeners know, you said that you put your mother's hands within your hands, and so basically you were doing some energy healing on her at that time. Is that right? Yeah. Well, my mom always knew that I was into the energy healing work, and because I was doing it at your office. And right. But she always thought it was like voodoo or whatever at first. And not that we're a religious family, but it wasn't, she just thought it was weird. And so, but when she started hurting, I would just say, Mom, let me just do some Reiki on you. I would use the word Reiki because people really understand that. Right. And so I would just put her hand in between my two hands, and I'm telling you, the energy was really coming out of my hands, and she was feeling it as heat, and it was uncomfortable at first. And I said, well, Mom, let's just hold on to this just for a little bit longer. And then I would feel it subside, and then actually her hand would be working for at least 3 days after that. I wish it would just last forever, but, you know, she didn't really believe. Yeah. And then, again, that's on each individual person's free will and therefore their choice to believe what they want. That's right. But, you know, and that's perfectly fine to me. You know, it's right. Like it's the whole aspect of it is that I helped her for that moment. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know, and that was important to me and probably to her at the time. Yeah, so just moving on a little bit here, do you think that there are major changes that are before us? I mean, I felt like I had been kind of put on hold for months, and I was waiting for that first domino to fall for so long. Oh, I went through that too, Joe. Yeah, well, a lot of us did. Yeah, well, you know, it's funny because now I feel a change in the energy starting, I don't know, was it a week ago or something? Maybe it was the first part of April, but all of a sudden now I feel like things are starting to happen. And although I don't directly see it, I really think that real soon it's inevitable, you know, once the media is able to broadcast what's truly the truth. And there's going to be so much happening. And this is just an awareness that I have. And I think something's going to happen that's really going to, I believe that something's going to happen that's going to be an eye-opener to everyone. And it's coming slowly, but surely. It's kind of like steady. You know, yeah. And a lot of us are saying that it's going to be an economic fall. Okay, and I still kind of think that, but I try to put that on this. I try to not put that in my head because it's fourth dimensional, and because I don't want to get in that trap because right now we are in a strong law of attraction. Okay, yeah. I mean, we think of something, it's going to happen. Yeah. You know? So it's kind of like, even though I am aware that, you know, with my dreams and things like that come up, I mean, I have had a lot of fourth dimensional dreams for about two or 3 years now. And of course, a lot of them I text you at 4 o'clock in the morning just so I can remember them. But I
I need to talk to somebody who I can relate to. so anyway, but what I realize is that we are our own reality. Okay, we create our own reality, and if we want to raise into a higher dimensional reality that takes us away from all the chaos that's in our world, okay, we have to start thinking that way. We have to start working on living that way. And, of course, there's many people out there that are still living in that fear-based world. They're in bad relationships. They're in, jobs that they hate, or they're not working, and they're fearful and stuff like that. And the whole aspect of it is that they have, once they get wind of this information, from people like ourselves who have already gone through it, and that's what we're here for. We're here to help people. That's why you do the radio talk show, and that's why I do what I do. Mm-hmm. And we've already experienced what they're going through, and so we can see it at a higher perspective. And because this energy is higher now, if they are still in chaos, their chaos is going to get worse, mm-hmm. with this 2012, by the end of the 2012.
Yeah.
It's how I believe. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. It's just how I feel about it. And
well, like I said, thought becomes reality, and the law of attraction states that what you put out is what you get back. So if you're focused on the negativity or the chaos, you're attracting more of that to yourself. And as things combine and collapse, as you say, with the dimensions, then that all makes sense. So why not be more positive?
Yeah, because what I keep on seeing in my mind, okay, is that 2013 is kind of like the new clock, or the new, and I'm not even saying that it's going to be exactly at December 21st, 2012. Nobody really knows.
Right.
Okay, but we know that the time frame is escalating. Mm-hmm. Okay, and we know now that all the secrets are out, it used to bug the heck out of me that all these people were in these conspiracy talks, but nobody had a handle on what they were talking about, at least in my mind, or maybe I just wasn't there, to be able to recognize that stuff, because that's not what I'm here for. And so the whole aspect of it is that those people had this inner drive in them to be able to tell people, hey, look, this is what's going on. We're slaves.
Yeah.
They call them the Illuminati, And, of course, for the longest time, I didn't know what Illuminati was. I actually saw them as reptiles in my mind. Mm-hmm. Believe it or not, for the longest time, I'd hear about Illuminati, which I figure were higher powers or something. And I would actually see them when I closed my eyes. Every time that name was mentioned, I would see a reptilian eye.
Right.
Or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole aspect of it is, I hope I didn't get straight off on what you were asking.
No.
Okay.
But that's okay. We'll bring you back here. It all made sense. And
okay, good.
One of the things that people are questioning out there, whether they're in fear or not, because there's a lot of naysayers, there's a lot of people that are putting out doom and gloom. And what are your thoughts on Earth changes? Are there going to be any significant ones coming up, or will they happen but not be detrimental to those living in the particular areas that they occur? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, in reference to that, what has come to my consciousness, and it depends on which dimension you're in, because, the third dimensional world is kind of disappearing on me, so I'm not seeing those naysayers or those doom and gloom people anymore. I don't recognize it.
Yeah.
And I don't attract it, let's just say. And right. So the thing is that, and of course I'm a healer, so if somebody has an energy that's low, I'm going to always help them raise that vibration up by helping them to see it differently. But what you're saying is that the earth changes. I believe that there's going to be more earth changes. United States is not excluded from that. You know, I have had a lot of different visions that actually a couple of them woke me up sweating, you know, because I felt like I was in it, but then I also felt like I was in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, kind of like not in this body, but in a different one.
Right.
So it's kind of like I was probably traveling, you know, like I was probably doing some type of traveling
mm-hmm.
in the future or something. And what I saw, or maybe dimensional traveling, because I have been told by other people that I have a knack to do that. Mm-hmm. And so basically what I'm noticing is that we could be in whatever reality we're in if people don't allow themselves to open their spirit up or their souls up to this higher consciousness. So because I don't see them anymore, or at least I don't recognize them, I do take care of mentally challenged people, but I see them even differently than somebody else. So the thing is that if they can't awaken to this higher perspective, then they will follow their own reality. And so that may be what they call going back into another 800 cycles of third dimensional lives, you know what I'm saying? Or it might be, because they might be new souls, you know what I'm saying? And then, or they may be going, they may be shifting into a third dimensional reality, especially the people who believe in war, you know, like they may be in the knowing, but they might believe in, you know, that we're going to be getting into a World War III, or the world's going to crumble around us, or, you know, or they're going to be they have to stock up on food because they are afraid of starving and things like that. Those people may be, or they might be afraid of aliens, you know?
Yeah.
So they may be shifting into that reality.
Right. So now, with the end, you know, coming to an end, I mean, all these, the way I look at it is kind of like potentials, like timelines, and everything towards 2012 is coming down to, it's just narrow, and then all of a sudden reset. So as you're talking here, I'm getting the impression that, again, thought becomes reality. And although we're all in this consciousness field and the reality is subject to what we attract to ourselves, it also, we can manifest things right before us that we're focused on. So if we're totally focused on like the war and things like that, that may be a particular reality that individual perceives or has the experience thereof. And in contrast, those who may want to ascend and have been focusing on this their entire life won't even see things like war or the potential for it because they're on a different mindset. Does that make sense?
Yeah, like I personally don't think that, you know, when they talk about this economic collapse coming up, like people are talking about how they're losing their jobs and things like that. And even when I go into Denver and I see all these homeless people on the side of the street from one block to another saying, homeless mom, this and that, I see them in compassion. You know, sometimes if I have a full bottle of water, I'll give it to them, you know, things like that. But the thing is that what I see is that because I don't believe, you know, like first of all, I'm very comfortable with making a blanket for somebody, you know what I'm saying, if I'm hungry. But at the same time, I really don't believe that I'm really going to have that that discomfort. You know what I'm saying? And I don't even see that as being a discomfort. You know what I'm saying? Like, I went up to Medford, Oregon, up in the mountains, and I spent 2 days with these awesome kids. You'll be interviewing them pretty soon, I think. And these kids are very connected to the earth. And here I am, a 55-year-old woman, you know, and I had the most extraordinary experience of eating vegetarian meals that were from the earth, that they were growing, you know what I'm saying? I had the wonderful experience of just being in beauty and in nature. And, of course, there's a lot of these young souls that are being reincarnated either as extraterrestrial beings or from the 60s that are getting very much into that community living again, you know. And I'm telling you, it was like I felt like I was at home. Yeah. I mean, I had no electricity, no electronics, no nothing, and the thing is that I never slept so good. I can't remember the last time that I slept every night except for when I was visited one night up there. You know, that I woke up in the morning saying, "Oh my God, I slept all night long." You know, and it was like, and I felt so rested. And it's such a different. So I can see how a lot of us, if we had to be put into that situation, that it wouldn't affect us. Yeah. You know, because we wouldn't see it as survival. We would see it as a way of life. Right. Okay. And I think that most of us will be just going right into it because, you know something, we have to get rid of. We have to get rid of this. What is it? This bondage that we're in. Yeah. Right. And the dependence on the various things like the oil and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Especially, which we're going to get into here in a second, the free energy. But let me just ask you real quickly, what your take on the planet becoming a star at the end of this year. Some people are saying that. I guess it could be a reality for those who just wholeheartedly have that focus, and then other people maybe, like we're talking about realities, timelines, dimensions, and individual people's experiences. But overall, do you see that as a possibility? What do you think about that? Well, I actually, when you told me you were going to ask me that question, or when I read that on the website, I thought, my God, what a question. He's always challenging me. And so what I did was I went within and I asked guidance. So basically I asked my higher mind to tap into one of my guides, which is Liesa from the Syrian Star. And so anyway, what I noticed, what the message that I received is that, you know, scientifically in our world, okay, our planet can, you know, the core from all the activity that our Earth can experience, we can blow up and turn into a star, you know. And our Earth has been changing, but I also was under the impression that if that was to happen, we would have a whole lot more activity going on than what we're experiencing right now with the changes. And so when I asked, so what's going on with all these changes, they talked about the cleansing of low energy. It's kind of like rebirthing, creating new shapes in the earth, and bringing up to surface new things, like newness is what I got. And so they have to let go of they have to let go of what isn't thriving. The earth has to let go of what isn't thriving in order to be able to recreate. So I didn't get any signs from her that we're going to turn into a star. Now, what I did get from her, which I thought was really interesting, was you know how we have this astrological signature, so we have a lot of geometric symbols within ourselves as a creation.
Right.
Well, so does the Earth. And the Earth also has a lot of geometric symbols as well. I mean, to the point where it's a language. It's like we're part of a matrix. And so that's what I got from her, is that we are part of a matrix, and that she is now has been given a new signature or an imprint. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To where now that new imprint is going to carry energy through the earth.
Yeah.
Okay, that's going to create the earth to shine. Okay, because it's like the earth has an aura as well.
Right.
Just like we have an aura.
Right.
And so this is all part of her, kind of like her rebirthing.
Right.
And so now I have to be seeing this. Now, in Sirius, Liesa comes from the 7th dimension, which is a high dimension in Sirius. And so I have to be seeing this at a higher perspective.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. I wouldn't be able to see this in a third dimensional light. So how I'm seeing it is how she's showing it.
Right.
And that's how I feel it, yeah.
Yeah, what you're describing actually has been proven scientifically, that we actually live in a holographic universe, and at least energetically, there is a template that's superimposed from a higher dimension down to this third dimension. And the best description of this that I've seen in medicine is the individuals who have had an amputee below the knee, but yet they still feel the toe pain. It's called phantom pain. And it's because, the research that was done from a Russian scientist, he actually did this electrophotography, I guess it was called, and which took pictures. For instance, it would take a picture of a leaf, and it showed the aura around it, the energetic field. They cut the leaf in half and then took a picture again, and it still showed the energetic, the entire leaf. So at least from an energetic point of view, I think that the template is from a higher dimension, and that really makes sense to me when you said that the Earth is getting a new template and it seems to me that might be part of the reset. Like she's restructuring and getting rid of the old and allowing this new structure to come into place. So that's really cool. I never thought of it that way.
Yeah, actually, I never did either. Not until I got that. Not until I went within to ask her that question about returning into a star, and then I got all that information. It's really amazing on how I get all this other information that you don't expect to get.
Right.
Yeah. So that's what she was explaining to me, is that it's about energy again.
Yeah. Awesome. So you mentioned the word thrive. If things aren't thriving, then they need to be washed clean so that the new can be rebirthed, as you say. And so have you seen the movie Thrive? Did you watch that today?
Yeah, I did. I thought that was fascinating.
I've been sending that to everybody that I know just because it's things that most of us light workers have been talking about for years. And now here it is compiled into one movie, and I definitely stand behind it and recommend it. And the majority, I can't remember anything that I saw that I didn't truly believe in that was going on this planet at this time, and how things have suppressed and everything, like the free energy and all that kind of stuff. And really, whoever's listening out there, you can get it on YouTube, and plus if you just go to the website, and I'm not sure what it is, but I guess if you Google it, the movie is Thrive. I know a lot of people have seen it out there, but definitely if you have seen it, recommend it to other people, just so the more momentum we get with this awakening and the awareness and the excitement of the change, the better things are going to go, and the quicker things are going to change, and it'll be such an easier transition once people wake up. And I really believe it's a really good in-depth movie of what has been going on with the true history of this planet and humanity.
And at the same time, and remember also, thought becomes reality, which I know is your favorite saying. And when people start to look at this and say, aha, they get that, aha, that makes sense.
Right.
Then that changes their inner dialogue.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? To where they say, oh, well, I don't want this.
Yeah.
And so what I did notice in there is that, or what I thought of afterwards, is that it would be nice if that same, or even other documentarists, like my young friends, our young friends in Oregon, Amy and Mike, the map makers. Let me just get that out there. Okay. They actually, if they could put documentaries together of more of the solutions.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because he touched base in the end about the solutions.
Right.
And I believe that the solutions need to be more brought to form so that people could see that the solutions of how to make this happen, to make that destruction happen in order for us to rebuild. You know, because not only is the earth rebuilding herself, but we have to do that too.
Right.
We have to rebuild a new way of living in what some people might call utopia, or some people might call a higher consciousness, unity conscious life, you know, to where everybody is free.
And the earth and everything else, the earth, the universe, everything is living together harmoniously, like the indigenous people have been trying to teach us forever.
Right, and the thing is that a lot of them had it together, but somehow that energy shifted on them, and it's only their history that is coming back to us and helping us to remember, you know, so that, because that power that we presented upon them was, the third-dimensional reality came down strong on them and destroyed that thought process but something, who said it was right and who says it's wrong anyway? Maybe that had to happen too in order for us to get to the next.
Well, I always say that because, if you get caught up on,
Yeah, I just got thrown out of that conversation. It's like, that's why I changed that real quick. I got thrown out of that, saying, don't get into that. Who says it's not right and who says it's not wrong?
Well, no, because you're actually right in what you said, because without opposition, there's no growth. So some of the things have to happen, just like the financial collapse. And the way that word is, it sounds so negative, like, oh my God, we're all going to be poor and it's going to be like the Depression and all this other stuff. But really, from a higher point of view, and that's what we've been talking about this whole show, is if you see it from a higher perspective, it's actually a good thing and a necessary thing in order for us to reset and go in a direction that we truly want to be in anyway. So, out with the old and in with the new is the way I look at it.
Yeah, and it's all, and if we can look at it, if we can get out of our own fear and look at it as a wonderful change and a wonderful transition, that's why it's happening kind of slowly, to help us get.
Well, yeah, that's what you're talking about is the transition, and that's one of the things that, many things are difficult it depends on your mindset, but there are some things that are, like even childbirth, that transition from the mother's stomach until, or her the womb, if you will, to a newborn child. I mean, that transition, it's not the easiest thing, I guess you should say. But once it's accomplished, then it can be looked upon as the greatest thing. It's a new birth. It's
Right, and you have to keep in mind too that's a whole new show by itself, there, Joe. That when it comes to rebirth, that can be just as easy as letting go. I don't know. Sometimes letting go is hard, but rebirth, like when you're going through the mother's womb, if you have been regressed into your mother's womb, it is a wonderful place to be. And even prior to that, when you're in that spaceless time, in that timeless space, that is like your connection to Source.
Right.
That's even like those children that come out of the womb. They're still connected to Source up until they're about 7 years old, until other people's ideas and perceptions take over. So it can be a smooth sailing, and that's what's happening today. Is that these new generations that are coming in are thinking differently now. So their children will be thinking differently. And matter of fact, that's another thing that I should bring up since it just popped up in my head. These new children that are coming in, whoa. A lot of them are clairvoyant, clairessence. Some of them can move things. Some of them you can see, oh my God, you can just really see the extraterrestrial that came through. Like I sitting there eating at a restaurant one day, and this girl, I swear she was Palladian. This little girl, the sweetest looking thing. I couldn't get my eyes off of her. And I'm not much of a baby person, you know? And it was just like, and she would stare at me like she knew me, and then I'm also seeing a lot of reptilians at a higher, at least I think they're reptilians, at a higher evolution, because there was a little boy across the street from me who was a little Milano boy, and my grandson was playing with him over the summer and said, my grandmother's a psychic. So this little boy couldn't wait to talk to me. So he comes up and he's asking me, do you know about aliens? Have you ever met any? He's asking me all kinds of questions. And then all of a sudden, Joe, I swear, it was the neatest thing. His eyes shifted. And he morphed into a reptilian. But he wasn't threatening.
Right.
And, I mean, his eyes actually like a lizard eyes. And it's, of course, I didn't turn around and tell him. I just kind of like answered his questions and things like that. But you're seeing a lot of that coming through now. And so these kids are going to be doing things that we never thought could happen.
Well,
telepathy is going to go on, things like that.
Well, Jesus said, you will do these things and greater things.
That's right.
All right.
So it's exciting.
Yeah, here comes a train coming through. So.
Okay, that's fine. It's only going to be there for about 10 seconds, so we'll let it go through. But anyway, it is an exciting time, and the transition that's going on right now, people will look at it as exciting. I think they'll have an easier transition. If people are looking at it as doom and gloom, like the world's going to blow up or the solar flares are going to come and fry the earth and things like that, they're going to be kind of surprised. But I believe it's going to be other things that are going to happen that's going to change, actually probably awaken a lot of people at the same time. Just like that, just like that thing that happened in New York. Shame on me.
Well,
it's that awoke a lot of people.
Yeah. I mean, that's a whole other story too. So,
yeah, that's true.
We'll go down that road. Maybe in the future I'll get you on and we can talk about that. But for now, I mean, I wanted to open up the phone lines at say 7:30. It's 5 till, but luckily I have this show for another 35 minutes. So, what I'd like to do is maybe open up the phone lines. And how do you feel about the energies right now? Do you feel like you'd like to channel? And while you're doing that, if you do want to, I can discuss what it is and what we've experienced while you do that, while you get ready. But do you feel...
yeah, I could probably give it a go. I've never really been a big fan of channeling over technology, but I feel very excited, and I feel like I've got company with me.
Awesome.
So...
Okay, so I'm going to let
tap in.
I'm going to let you tap in, and then we're going to let the listeners have a first-hand experience, I guess, if you will, while you're tapping in. And, it's funny because we just got a bunch of callers that popped on right now. If you have any questions, we're going to have Teri go into a deep channel, and I'm going to bring you on for your particular questions once she gets up to speed here. But basically, what I found in my research with Teri while she was working for me as a hypnotherapist and a Reiki master at my urgent care center in Pennsylvania, and I've seen a lot of miracles happen there with this. But an open channel are basically the psychics and that you see day to day, that people such as John Edwards and people like that. Chip Coffey. Then there are deep channels, and Bashar is a deep channel. You could Google these people, but Teri can do both, and it's really exciting to really allow yourself to set yourself aside, almost like the movie Ghost, where Whoopi Goldberg allows her body to be used by Patrick Swayze in the movie. And he comes through, and his essence basically comes through to communicate. And Teri calls upon these higher beings of love and light from these higher dimensions to come through and give messages and answer questions that, they have a higher perspective is the way I look at it. And the best way I can describe it is like when we're in this third dimensional realm, and we're going through a maze, kind of like a cornfield maze. We can't see our way out. But if you had a ladder and you climbed up to the top of this ladder that was well above the cornfield, you could actually see a different way out, or a better way, or you have a different perspective. And so when you're tapping into your higher self or these higher dimensional beings, they kind of give you a heads up, so to speak. And what I've experienced with various psychics and channels such as Teri are that you can tap into these higher sources that can give you some insight that you normally wouldn't have in your perspective with the blinders on and with the limited view that you have with the five senses that humanity has. So let me just check in here. Teri, how are you? Are you...
We are here. We are here to address our Earth friends.
And who are we speaking with? Who has Teri tapped into?
The vessel has a favorite from the Syrian councils. The vessel prefers the feminine of many visitations from Liesa, although it is a connection of all.
Mm-hmm.
Liesa and the vessel are willing to communicate as messengers. For those who wish to see things in a different perspective than your linear vibration.
Okay. So I'm going to have a caller check in here, and then at the end, if there's any general message that you want to give humanity, if that's okay, I'll ask you at that time.
We will be pleased.
Okay, thank you. All right. Let me just see if I can get somebody on here. All right, caller with the area code 780. Welcome to A Guiding Light.
Hey, welcome.
Do you have a question for Teri and Liesa?
I'd like this. Yeah, my question is that I'm actually moving on from situations with my mother. I'm sending her a letter, and I'd like to know how it will be received by her.
Okay, that's your question, caller?
Yes.
Okay.
We say when you express your feelings, and the feelings come from the heart and not from the head, that versus all of the ego's angers and resentments. We say that the heart speaks louder than the head and the ego. There are times when just allowing yourself to go within to that part of you that feels that it must express something to another. It is wiser to go within and love that part of you in the everlasting light of healing before you expressed your heart. Then that energy will be expressed back to your mother.
Does that make sense to you, caller?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, thank you for calling in.
You're very welcome. Thanks so much for the channel reading. Thank you.
Okay. If there's any other callers that have any questions, I see that there are some people that have called in, but I believe you have to push 1 or there's instructions that you have to let me know whether you want to ask a question or not. And so if you do, I'm looking at the dashboard right now. And in the meantime, Liesa, is there a general message to humanity that you would like to give at this time during these times of change on today's date, which is April 15th, 2012?
We do wish to express our undying love and light to humanity. It is a time of transition for your dimension. We say be one with us. However, you can connect to us as a whole. Whatever feels right in a spiritual sense in your heart, as your transformation will assume itself to us, as you evolve into this new transformation, many feel the feelings of death upon them. Death comes in many different forms. Letting go of old thoughts and old feelings, old relationships is also considered a death, so that you may allow a new beginning to emerge within yourself and attract the new vibration in others to come forth to you. Those who raise in what you may call the unity consciousness feels the emptiness of the once beloved separateness of the third dimensional human species. It only lasts for a little while, and you will recognize the difference as you raise in that frequency. We come in the light of graciousness, the love of light, to ensure your safe journey into the realm of these new beginnings. Those who struggle with earthly concerns of monetary values, money, relationships, possessions, feeling that you must be in control of yourself and others. We as well send you our loving light so it may shine brightly within your matrix, within your crystalline center, to expand through you for growth. Shine brightly within, for sometimes it does take that last struggle or that last part of letting go. For holding on is only an illusion. Release yourself of that illusion to come to that final conclusion. For we have only a delight of showing you the way. Ask. We show the way by dropping seeds so you may grow like a plant, helping you to break through the trappings of old stagnant energy. That stagnant energy you may perceive as a piece of dust that clings. You can't seem to shake it off. Let us give you that power of growth by opening your heart. Then you may release your pain. Many of our species have witnessed this same energy of evolution to you. It is an uncomfortable feeling to face yourself, to get to know yourself, to bring back the memories of who you really are. Many souls on earth are awakening and birthing into this new energy. Allow yourself to be there. It is your own witness. It is the evolution of your planet as you are a part of it. Bless you, all humans. Bless you, and we are here.
Thank you, Liesa. We have another caller here that has a question, and I'm going to bring you on now with the area code 321. Welcome to A Guiding Light.
How are you doing?
Great. What is your question?
Yes. Are you guys doing skull readings tonight?
Yes.
Yes, I have some questions. Do you see anything for me?
I'm sorry?
Do you see any messages for me?
Do you have any particular questions that you could ask Liesa specifically? Like, what would your first question be if you had any question to ask?
Am I on the right path? Am I on the right path?
We are all on the right path. You, to ask that question, are on your journey. For you to be listening in and to be asking a higher vibrational energy to help you. We can only give you that blessing of being on that path and that journey. We feel that you may feel that you are wanting something more than you are receiving, and there are blockages in the way. If you wish to remove them, to step into that light, then all you have to do is go within and connect, and you will see that pathway begin to brighten or clean its way to where you can go another step to be able to take a look at something else that may be in its way, push something aside, let go of something. Your heart can answer that question. Your ego may need to be brought to the heart, for the ego only wants to be a part of your journey. So if you tell your ego mind to come along for the ride, it can only blend along with it, for it just wants that attention. And it makes it easier to move forward.
Okay, caller. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bless
And
you.
we have another person on hold. The area code is 334, and I'm not sure if you want to come on and ask a question. I'm going to ask you here in just a second, though. Caller with the area code 334, welcome to A Guiding Light. Do you have a question?
Yes. Blessings. My question would be, how?
Your question is how?
How to go within to a higher dimension. Peacefully.
We tell you, in order to join and connect with your higher connection, is to go within the heart. You may close your eyes, focus only on that, release all other realities and let them stay behind. and only focus in the heart of love, whether you see it in colors or whether you feel it, whether you breathe it. And as you do that, you call upon your higher connection, which many may call the higher mind, the guardian angel, whatever feels comfortable in your language. And you should begin with that communication so that you may be able to connect to other parts of you first. And as you connect to other parts of yourself, such as your inner child, and ask your inner child if she feels safe, if she feels comfortable, if she is happy, and if she is not, then you and your higher connection can heal her wounds first through forgiveness, through love, through nurturing, become that mother. And then allow your higher mind to connect into maybe the angelic realm and bring in more guardians, but always do it in the act of love. For that is your realm of safety, your realm of believing that you can tap into the higher sources that only love you and mean you well and can help you move forward in your journey, for you are a student to them. Blessings to you.
Thank you, caller.
I received a blessing.
Wonderful. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you for being there.
Okay, Liesa, I have a question here. Many people are wondering what they can do to help in the transition for themselves, for humanity, for Mother Earth at this time, because we're obviously in some, whether we call it the ascension process or the 2012 phenomenon or whatever the verbiage is, we're in some change right now. And many people are wondering what can they do, because it seems like it's a daunting task, because the world is sometimes seems so big and there's so much going on and there needs to be so much change. What can each individual person do for themselves that will not only help themselves but help humanity, the earth, and the entire universe as a whole?
We have spoken this many times, and we speak this to many in their sleep, in their meditations, their prayers. And we say that in order to easily transition through this new process of change is to change within, to become the light. And to become the light is to learn to live in your moment, for time in your world is changing very quickly. So if you stay in the moment and not be in your tomorrows or your worries, and if you focus on your world and how you can be a part of this new creation, whether you are with a companion, allow that companion to be at one with you. For as you become a oneness in two, then you will have an extraordinary force of energy to create and co-create. So your creations in your illusions, in your mind, or however you see them or feel them or express them, bring it up to where it is a self, not so much of a gratification, but a self-love. For you are the spark. You are the light that creates the change. Ask if you are struggling to be released from that struggle. And it shall happen, for you are in the law of attraction. And then allow yourself to believe it. For your ego consciousness will try to sabotage it. But when you put your ego consciousness in its place as you stay in your present moment, then you will be a contributor to this change. We will now release.
Thank you so much.
It has been our honor to be of service during this time. And so we bless all those who wish to come closer to this extraordinary new transition. And now,
thank you again.
We will exit.
Okay. So while Teri's getting herself together here, again, we want to thank the Syrians and Laesa specifically, as Teri called upon her to come through for the messages. And thank you all the callers that called in, and many blessings to everyone who are listening out there. And Teri, you back with us?
Yeah, I am. I feel a little high right now.
Well, there you go. You don't even need the external stuff that most people have to, so that's pretty good.
That's true. I look at it as a healing. Keeps his body going.
Yeah. So how do you feel? We talked a little bit about channeling. While you were going in, I was explaining to the listeners the open channel, the closed channel, and as you went in and you kind of set your ego aside, sometimes when you're really deep into a channel, you don't remember anything, and other times you're partially there. This particular time, did you set yourself totally aside, or do you remember some of what was going on?
I remember some of it, and I think I've always remembered some of it. I think the only times when I don't remember is when I have like certain entities that come through that are probably either healing me or protecting me or something. So, but I think throughout the years of doing this, I always remember bits and pieces, but it doesn't really matter to me.
Right.
You know, it's kind of like I just allowed myself to be that conduit, and now it's just a matter of being in service. So if if I helped anybody, or not they, then that's awesome. I really hope that I've heard some wonderful stories and feedback in the past, so we'll just and whoever I talk to tonight, hopefully they'll be able to carry that energy with them. Because that's basically, I truly believe that when I am channeling, that that people are receiving the energy of the channeler.
Right.
That's why, sometimes when I'm channeling in front of people, in the past I realized that some people that wasn't ready for it, they would get like swoomy or dizzy.
Mm-hmm.
Other people get sometimes sleepy, and then other people would get really rejuvenated,
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of like they planted the seed. Now I'm all kind of bubbly inside.
All right.
But that's what I think that happens, is that they receive a gift from those channels, is what I think.
Awesome. All right. Well, we only have a few minutes left, and I want to thank you for being on the show. And would you like to give out your website or contact information so that the callers that called in could reconnect with you, or if they have other people to refer to you for individual messages or readings?
Okay. Actually, I'm not sure what state I'm going to do this in. I'm either going to be doing it in Oregon or Colorado or New Mexico. But I'm hoping around September, October to put together a certification course in transpersonal hypnotherapy. Okay. Now, I started a website, and I've not done it, but you can go in and see what I'm doing so far. And that website is www.healingholisticalliance. Let me make sure that's right. .com. And if they want to get a hold of me, they can get a hold of me through my email and talk to me if they like. And that would be hypnoteri at gmail.com. So it's
okay.
hypnoteri at gmail.com.
And then also, listeners, if you can't remember that or it was too quick, I only got a couple minutes left here, but you can always email me through my website or through the blog talk here, and I'll get a hold of Teri for you, or I'll just send the message off. I'll forward it off to her. And we only got about 2 minutes left here, Teri, so just briefly, is there anything you'd like to leave our listeners with maybe 20 seconds?
Oh, wow. Well, have a nice journey. It's kind of like there's not much I could really say. I think I said a lot tonight.
Yeah. No, it was wonderful.
So,
and thank you for.
Thank you for all the listeners as well. I appreciate just being able to be on the show.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
And sharing.
Oh, absolutely. And we want to probably in the near future ask you back for updates and have you back on and see what is going on in your life, and maybe do another channeled message. Other than that, I have 90 seconds, so hang on the line there, Teri. Next week, Sunday,
okay.
April 22nd, we will be discussing sustainable life outside the current system with Mike and Amy. They have traveled the world researching and making documentaries on this very topic. Can life be sustainable off the grid? And how can one do this and survive? Tune in as we discuss the possibilities. Until next time, I'm Dr. Marra, signing off.